You know, they start off Warcraft so wonderfully well. They have an orc, a chieftain named Duatan, and they have a tight shot on his face, and he's getting all emotional. He's looking at his family, and you get a sense like, oh my God, they've really put a lot of work into letting us feel something for these orcs. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be a rich experience. And then that devolves into just a bunch of lots of quick scenes with human characters that pop into frame for 5 seconds and they get killed and they go away and you don't care about them at all. There's lots of really glorious battle sequences that kind of signify a lot of nothing because you just don't care about the population of this movie, orc or human, even though there are hints and suggestions that, oh my God, these people really worked hard to create this elaborate world that's going to make us believe that we are, seeing a heartfelt conflict between humans and orcs for the very first time that really does a lot to honor all of the source material and connects us to the lore that Blizzard has crafted for the various Warcraft games over the years. All of that stuff is kind of hinted at and suggested, and you know what? I think it's kind of cool that we get to see these moments of brilliance in Warcraft, and there are some true, seconds where you think, oh my God, this might turn around, this might be okay, but really it sort of falls and gets crushed under its own weight. There's just too much crap on screen, and I think that's the biggest crime of this movie. There's just too many kinds of ways that they're trying to keep people happy and placated, and it devolves into a big effects movie with lots of huge scenes and lots of big battles that are fun to watch, but they feel like cutscenes from any game, and that's terrible. That's not what we want out of a video game movie. We want to escalate. We want to grow from here.
Don't try and take him on with brute force. They're stronger. Be smarter.
What I feel is that everybody that was involved in the making of this movie should have just stopped for a second and said, look, we don't necessarily have to just appease everybody that knows any little thing about Warcraft and try to build something that's going to connect the gamers to this movie. Yes, that of course had to be a part of the process, but they should have looked at the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the first one that Peter Jackson came out. You can't build a fantasy movie without that looming shadow of that brilliant trilogy overhead. And yes, it was squandered a bit when he went on and did The Hobbit, which was not nearly as good as Lord of the Rings, but that first trilogy was pretty phenomenal work. And, it obviously appealed to a mass audience all over the world that may or may not have been intimately familiar with all of Tolkien's words and all of the characters that he crafted. But what Jackson and his team did was really indulge us and give us time to kind of soak up the details of that very rich fantasy world that they crafted for us. And Warcraft doesn't do that. It really kind of supposes that we know something about Warcraft or that we've already got a connection to this stuff because of the work that Peter Jackson and all of the copycats since then have done. And I think that there's a real disservice even naming this movie Warcraft, because that's such a big title. That is a title that encompasses not everything. It encompasses all of the even the other races that they tease us with in this movie to ill effect. I mean, they just pop them up on screen and then they disappear. It's just too large of a concept. It's as if Peter Jackson said, well, we're going to make all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies in one movie, and take all of that lore and all of that fiction and all of those characters and try to squeeze it into 2 hours. And that's kind of how Warcraft fails. It does give us the inklings and the suggestion of interesting characters and in lots of cool places and gorgeous castles and great orc villages. And I think the thing that they achieved is they made the orcs believable, and you honestly are blown away every time they're on screen, whether they're crushing in a human opponent's head or having, sort of an argument. You're just like, wow, this is really, really cool. Imagine if we had a couple of movies to kind of stretch into this and really get to know these characters. And I think that's what they should have done. I know it's crazy that I didn't like this movie, and I'm asking that they should have just made this more movies, but I do feel like Duncan Jones and his army of craftspeople, and who knows, maybe this movie will make enough box office that they'll actually have time to kind of dunk us into this world and let us soak it up a little bit more and feel something for everything in here. But this just felt like we were on it's a trailer. It's a 2-hour trailer for the Warcraft movies that could have been, and that's just silly because yeah, there is just no consequence. We just don't give a crap about any of the deaths that happen, any of the major transitions, the evil that's sort of sprung up. All of it just seems like, okay, we got to have that thing in there. We got to have that thing. Even the orc human half-breed hot lady that they have in this thing, who's wearing like a fur bikini and a chain at the beginning because she's not appreciated by either race. It looks like the costume department for that saw a bucket of green paint and a half of Dracula teeth and said, okay, we'll stick these in. You're gonna have trouble talking, and we'll just paint you in green, and then we'll put bones in your hair, and you'll look really cool. And that's it. She honestly doesn't look cool, and the performer is not that great. She doesn't feel like she believes it to the level that we're seeing out of the CG creations of these orcs. And so you're just like, well, this is just cheeseball.
We are not powerful enough to defeat Gul'dan.
There is some cheesy fun to be had out of watching this movie, sort of like B-movie type cheeseball. You're smiling. It's like, oh, that's pretty cute. That's cool. But that's not what you want out of this. I mean, you wanted this thing to be, you know, a new generation's Lord of the Rings. I'm certain that Blizzard was hoping that it would be that. And, you know, maybe they're just happy to see all of their creations on the big screen in such an elaborate way. But it just feels too fast-paced, too overstuffed. I can't tell one orc from the other. The only reason why I know it's Chief Duatan is because it kind of sounds like Duvetain. I don't know what Duvetain is, but it kind of made me kind of connect the dots there. Just a big waste. That's what I saw when I watched this Warcraft movie. It's just a lot of money being wasted, and it's a crying damn shame, because this could have been fun, especially under the hands of Duncan Jones. I'm a big fan of this guy as a filmmaker, but I think this was just too much junk, man. It was just like an overstuffed closet. There was just too much junk in the closet trying to make sense of it all, and it doesn't make sense, and it was not entertaining. I'm giving Warcraft a 4 out of 10. Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.